You know how incredibly hard it is to master our own impulses, right? I mean, we try to build good habits, we try to be more patient, yet so often we just stumble at the very first hurdle of self-control. Well, let's dive right into this explainer, because today we're looking at a deeply profound 2022 address by Hazrath Pir Sayyid Tanveer Hashmi Qibla. And what makes this speech so fascinating isn't just the theology, it's that it lays out a highly actionable step-by-step framework on exactly how to improve spiritual discipline. As we're going to see, this ancient roadmap for cleaning up your own internal habits is actually the secret to creating broad, real-world societal harmony.
To master this, our roadmap today covers the phases of Ramadan, becoming a true believer, disciplining the tongue, cleansing the heart, the power of supplication, and finally, national harmony.
Starting off with Section 1, the phases of Ramadan as the ultimate training ground.
Modern psychology loves to tell us it takes about 3 weeks to build a new habit, right? Interestingly, the speaker unpacks an ancient framework that uses a 30-day escalating spiritual boot camp to completely break down the human ego. He divides the holy month of Ramadan into these distinct phases of progression. The first 10 days are a period of absolute mercy. Then, days 11 through 20 transition into a period of forgiveness. And the final 10 days, which is actually when this address originally took place, are considered the days of ultimate freedom and liberation from hellfire. It's an intense training ground. You don't just passively sit back and experience these 30 days. You really have to actively deploy disciplined devotion to unlock these different levels of divine grace, which all culminates in the intense search for the night of power.
Moving to Section 2, Becoming a True Believer, the Promise and the Roadblocks.
The speaker contrasts the empty guarantees of the modern world with an absolute divine promise. Think about it for a second. Politicians, kings, worldly leaders, they make promises about prosperity or lower taxes all the time, and they almost inevitably break them. But a divine promise? That's unshakable. He asserts that if you do the internal work, true success and triumph will literally kiss your feet. It's such a theatrical, powerful image. But there's a massive condition attached to that promise. You can't just coast by wearing the label of your faith. You absolutely have to undergo the grueling, uncomfortable internal work to transform from head to toe into a true believer, or a momin.
And he gets brutally specific about the modern roadblocks preventing this transformation. This isn't just dusty philosophy. He's calling out the active societal decay happening right now. Communities are fracturing themselves through deep-seated jealousy and sectarianism. He explicitly points to the tragic rise of drug abuse, specifically mentioning marijuana, opium, and hashish, which is actively destroying the discipline of youth in regions like Karnataka and Kerala. And then he highlights something we can all relate to: backbiting. Except today, it's mutated. The village gossips whispering over fences are gone. Now we can broadcast our jealousy and tear someone down to thousands of people with a single viral online post. These are the very real modern habits destroying our spiritual discipline.
Which brings us to Section 3, Disciplining the 3-inch tongue, the root of discord.
3 inches. Honestly, this is perhaps the most profound realization of the entire address. The speaker traces all of those massive societal issues, the geopolitical conflicts, the community infighting, the shattered families, back to this single 3-inch piece of flesh, the human tongue. It is the primary organ that needs immediate, strict discipline. Just think about that in your own life for a second. Think about the last time those 3 inches of flesh got you into serious trouble, or maybe ruined a relationship. If you can't discipline this tiny, everyday organ, the speaker argues you cannot possibly claim to have any real spiritual discipline whatsoever.
To really drive this home, he paints a staggering picture of hypocrisy. Picture yourself raising your hands in a grand, emotional, spiritual gathering, passionately praying for goodness in this world and the hereafter. Sounds great, right? But earlier that exact same day, that exact same tongue was actively being used to hurl vicious insults, spread toxic rumors, or break a parent's heart. The cognitive dissonance is just striking. He argues that prayers originating from a hypocritical tongue like that don't even make it past your own throat. They literally carry zero spiritual weight.
Let's look at Section 4, Cleansing the Darkened Heart and the Internal Struggle.
So, when the tongue runs wild, it causes serious internal damage. When malice, jealousy, and anger build up, the heart literally becomes blackened. The speaker uses such a vivid metaphor here. He points out that physical cleaning agents are completely useless on this kind of spiritual grime. You can't just scrub away years of bitterness with worldly soap or detergent. The only solvent strong enough to break it down
sincere tears of repentance. And if we're being honest with ourselves about how to improve our discipline, embracing that level of raw vulnerability and acknowledging our own faults is arguably the hardest discipline of all to master.
Now, looking inward at our own darkened hearts can easily lead to despair. But the speaker counters that despair with an incredible metric of comfort. Think about a mother's love for a second. It's the most intense, protective, and unconditional human emotion we can comprehend. A mother will forgive almost anything her child does. Now take that profound affection and multiply it by 70. According to the teachings, that staggering multiplier is the baseline of divine mercy waiting to respond to anyone willing to sincerely try and clean their heart. Just let the weight of that comfort sink in for a moment.
Section 5. The power of supplication in changing your fate.
This brings us to a deeply philosophical pivot in the address, because if everything in the universe is already written, what is the point of praying? Can a single prayer actually change your destiny?
Well, according to the teachings discussed, fate is generally an unmovable wall. However, sincere supplication, or dua, is the one single force granted to humanity with the power to actually rewrite the script. Actually, think of it kind of like a spiritual skill tree in a video game. This ultimate superpower of changing your fate, it's completely locked until you've successfully completed the prerequisite levels. You only gain access to this transformative power if you have first done the hard work of disciplining your tongue and cleansing your heart.
And when you finally unlock it, the cosmic return on investment is unbelievable. The speaker explains that when a believer sincerely calls out Ya Allah just one time, divine mercy actually rushes back to them, responding 10 times over. Let's be real here. Even our own kids or our best friends wouldn't respond to us 10 times if we only called out to them once. The universe is incredibly eager to answer us. We're just historically terrible at asking with a disciplined and sincere heart.
Which leads us to our final section, Section 6, Unity and National Harmony.
Finally, we look at how this deeply personal, internal work bleeds out into the real world. The speaker contrasts our often fractured society, the one obsessed with castes, sects, and religious differences, with a sublime reality in India, the Ajmer Sharif Dargah. Try to picture the scene at this shrine. You have Hindus, Muslims, Sikhs, and Christians, people from entirely different worldviews, standing shoulder to shoulder in the exact same courtyard, seeking blessings together without an ounce of prejudice. It is a stunning visual reminder that true, high-level spiritual discipline naturally erases human-made divisions and breeds intense social harmony.
The speaker urges his audience to take this internal discipline and actively project it outward onto the nation. He calls for citizens to control their emotional fervor, to harbor a deep respect for the secular constitution, and to utilize their newly honed spiritual focus to pray for those maintaining order. He specifically requests prayers for the country's judiciary, the soldiers protecting the borders, and the vital, active promotion of cross-cultural and Hindu-Muslim brotherhood.
So the profound climax of this address is wrapped up right here. Broad societal harmony is completely impossible without first achieving personal, internal discipline. We so often doom-scroll the news feeling helpless, wanting to change the nation or fix the world overnight. But giving into that helplessness is a lack of discipline. The macro is entirely dependent on the micro. You cannot possibly have a harmonious society if the individuals within it can't even control their own 3-inch tongue. True, lasting change absolutely has to start by fixing your own habits today.
As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a direct challenge. The next time you're about to fire off an angry comment online or spread a rumor or snap at a family member, just stop. Remember the 3-inch tongue. What is one small way you will discipline yours today to create harmony in your own life? Because mastering those 3 tiny inches might just be the absolute key to changing your destiny and the world around you.